Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans, and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems, and, working closely with Israel, there was not a thing he, or the other leaders that have been killed along with him, could do. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. We are hearing that many of their IRGC, military, and other security and police forces no longer want to fight and are looking for immunity from us. As I said last night, now they can have immunity, later they only get death. Hopefully, the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian Patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the greatness it deserves. That process should soon be starting in that, not only the death of Khamenei, but the country has been, in only one day, very much destroyed and even obliterated. The heavy and pinpoint bombing, however, will continue, uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace throughout the Middle East and, indeed, the world. A turning point in history, the death of Ali Khamenei. In the early hours of February 28, 2026, the world woke to news that would reverberate far beyond the Middle East. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader since 1989, had been killed in a sudden and dramatic escalation of conflict. Iranian state media confirmed his death following joint military strikes by the United States and Israel, and the nation entered 40 days of mourning in his honor. Khamenei was more than a ruler. He was the embodiment of a political system that endured for decades, a figure whose influence shaped a nation's direction and its relationships with the wider world. His passing marks not just the end of a life, but the close of an era defined by confrontation, internal suppression, and regional ambition. What this means for Iran and for world politics is complex, multifaceted, and uncertain. The man and the legacy. Born in 1939, Khamenei rose steadily through the ranks of Iran's clerical establishment after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. When he succeeded Ayatollah Khamenei as supreme leader in 1989, he inherited a profoundly ideological state in transition, a nation wrestling with its identity between religious tradition and modern political currents. Over 36 years, he consolidated power, aligning with military elites and the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, to maintain authority through internal challenges. To supporters, he was a guardian of sovereignty and resistance against Western influence. To many critics, especially inside Iran and beyond, his reign symbolized repression, particularly during moments of mass protest, and a foreign policy that funded proxy conflicts and antagonized neighboring states and global powers alike. His decisions affected millions of lives, from economic hardship and censorship at home to geopolitical tensions abroad. A moment of global shock. The suddenness of Khamenei's death sent shockwaves across continents. In Tehran and other Iranian cities, state media aired somber tributes and prayers. Banners of mourning replaced everyday commerce, and national rituals of grief began, a signal of profound internal impact. International reactions were just as divided. Some world leaders expressed hope for stabilization and dialogue. Others warned that removing such a central figure could unleash further instability. In capitals from Washington to Moscow, policymakers analyzed the implications for nuclear non-proliferation, Middle East security, and alliances that have been precariously balanced for years. A nation at a crossroads. For many Iranians, especially younger generations who came of age amid economic strain and curtailed freedoms, this moment represents uncharted territory. Within Iran's political framework, succession is not automatic. The Assembly of Experts, a clerical body, must choose a new supreme leader, and a temporary leadership council now oversees governance during this transition. This process, steeped in constitutional procedures but shadowed by decades of state control, reflects the central paradox facing Iran. A system built on ideological continuity must now adapt in the absence of its most enduring figurehead. Will reformist currents gain strength? Will hardliners rally around a different face of the old guard? Or will new forms of civic expression emerge from the long shadow of authoritarian control? Global consequences and human stories. Beyond politics, the death of Khamenei touches countless personal narratives. Iranian families living abroad watch anxiously, torn between hope and fear. Dissidents imagine new chances for reform, others fear retribution and instability. Across the Middle East, communities anticipate shifts in alliances that have shaped security and conflict for decades. Markets, diplomacy, and military calculations all adjust to a geopolitical landscape made uncertain overnight. This moment, like any in history marked by sudden change, carries both the potential for renewal and the risk of deeper turmoil. It is a reminder that no single life, however powerful, determines the destiny of a people alone. Societies are made of millions of individual hopes, fears, struggles, and dreams. The death of a leader can open a door, but it cannot, in itself, deliver peace or justice. Beyond judgment, a call to reflection. It would be simplistic and dangerous to reduce this moment to pure celebration or condemnation. History teaches that violence begets violence when narrative becomes rigid and human suffering is eclipsed by political slogans. The strongest path forward, whether for Iranians, Americans, Israelis, or any global citizen, lies not in triumphalism, but in understanding, engagement, and a commitment to human dignity. This event should prompt reflection on how societies address grievances, how leaders wield power, and how global communities can move toward peaceful coexistence. It is in stories of resilience, empathy, and cooperation that the deepest transformations emerge.